player in the world, period. Let's go ahead and check out Battleground number 2. Let's go ahead and get started here for our Best of 5 series. It's going to be Infernal Shrines, Tricked Esports with the pick.
Yeah, Trick gets the pick because Zealots opt for the first pick here. So in terms of map choices, we are now seeing Infernal Shrines coming in. Trick has the lead in the series. And for Infernal Shrines, we have seen a lot of heavy team fights, but also a lot of teams focusing more on map manipulation. Yeah. Going against for the Dehaka, for Falstad maybe even. And I really like that the Bird is back. We've seen Falstad played yesterday, we've seen him play today, and normally, at least in this phase, it was only Fnatic who played the Bird. But now we're having back. You try to eliminate the Genji if you can, but even into a Genji, the players are more confident in using Falstad once more.
Yeah, they're trying to get the control there. Most of the time you'll see an Uther picked up first, so they have that ability to lock down Genji if they do dive into a fight. But still, Falstad seems to be a very manageable pick. Make sure to work in those Mighty Gusts and keep floating around. Now, this Battleground is a map that Tricked Esports is pretty darn solid on. They come to Infernal Shrines and BOE when they're looking for victories. So we're going to need proper shot calling from Zealots if they want a chance to win here.
Yeah, the Zealots need to make sure that they are, again, on point. But I'm not really too worried about that. After we've seen them play yesterday and now in the first map, that looked really good. So I'm excited for this one. This should be a really good series. Tricked might have the upper hand here. They are also the favorite heading into it, no doubt about it. But Zealots have shown over and over again now that they are a serious contender here in these games.
Yeah, if they continue to play like they are right now, Zealots can keep moving forward. And let's go ahead and look at some of the players here that are playing for both Tricked Esports and, of course, the Zealots. Let's look at Shad versus Make. First, Shad on the left side, the best player in HGC, facing off against Make, the new player for Tricked.
Yeah, I had no idea that Make looks like a fox. That's really impressive.
He's got some fur. He's got that chest hair, but it's all over his body, bringing it back to that Uther.
He looks like a rascal.
He does look like a rascal. So checking it out here in takedowns, Make is actually doing very well for a new addition to the lineup. McGrenna has been playing Genji, playing a little bit more assassin-based, but still, 10 takedowns, Deaths 1.8, KDA pretty solid here, 5.44, and always with his teammates. You can't ask for a better teammate.
Yeah, interpreting the stats here, of course, have to also realize that Shad sometimes is leaning more towards a specialist role, whereas Make is a lot more on the damage-heavy heroes. But overall, it's pretty impressive to see how Make is currently performing here. Yeah. Again, the Falstad had a few issues with the Gust in the last few fights, but if you just watch his play over the last few weeks since he joined the team, it's really impressive how he now fits into the mix of Tricked, and the team spirit on that team is just fantastic. It reminds me a lot of Fnatic, actually.
Yeah, really solid job by him. And Shad, of course, playing for whatever he needs to for his teammates, so that's why you see that siege damage being up, the Tassadars, the Avathars that they pull in there to make sure that it's soaking that experience. So let's go ahead and start. Infernal Shrine. Zealots with the ban here first on the left side. They'll be getting first pick as Tricked Esports has decided to come to this Battleground.
And it could be that we are not going to see any playtime for this handsome fella. The ban on Stitches. Remaballer didn't land a lot of hooks in the last game, but he landed the ones that really counted for his team. And that's one of the biggest strengths of Stitches. If you are behind and you land that one money hook, that's all that you need. And when they blew up Mopsio on his Muradin for the first time on Cursed Hollow, that's when the game really started to snowball into the other direction.
That's right, Stitches making the big bucks there. Land that hook on that Muradin last season or last game, getting those 2 keeps. Tassadar will be banned up for Tricked Esports. We have seen in the past Zealots are willing to go down that double support route if need be, but they will get their Nubarak, which Zealots enjoy running. Tricked Esports will answer back with Genji and Uther.
Pretty traditional opening here. The Nubarak on one hand, you have the Genji Uther option on the other, and they take that right away. Keep in mind that Stitches, another reason why he is banned out here is that Putrid Vial and also his Slam build has such a huge value when you're fighting over minions on the shrines. So you can target the objective much heavier with him, so he gets even more value than he has on other maps. But let's see how the Zealots are starting into the draft, really. The Nubarak was more or less a given. Could have opted into Uther or Genji, I suppose, but these 3 picks are really the big picks right now in the meta that the teams are usually aiming for here. But how are the Zealots now starting to draft? Are we going to see Greymane, for example? Fantastic hero here towards the objective. Also, of course, try and take down your opponent's heroes and especially target the front line with a good bullet. So that would be a very good start for them. We've seen already a few of them playing on it.
Yeah, the one way I don't think you'll see a Greymane here is if we get maybe a Gul'dan instead. Something that does that clear, that could fit that niche that Greymane does bring to the Battleground. However, I do expect a Greymane and a support. They actually move into Greymane and Sonya. So Sonya moving up a little bit earlier. We know Sonya can be strong in this Battleground, but she's typically one that we see in the later stages of the draft.
Yeah, so Sonya taken right away for them, but that's a lot of Shrine presence that they have already.
Yeah.
So they have Whirlwind and the Slam on the Shrine. We are seeing Greymane with the Cursed Bullet, then against the tanks on the side of Trick, but more so the cocktail itself, just to help with the objective. And also, if a Nubarak at some point gets maybe an isolation through a cocoon on a solo lane, they can move in with the rest of the team and just blow them away.
Tricked, what are you thinking about for bans here? There is a possibility they can move in towards banning out certain supports. They can get rid of the Rhaegar if they would like to make sure that a Nubarak and Sonya don't have such an easy time taking poke and then of course getting healed back on up. They could move into other routes of getting rid of damage they might be fearful of, but right now Zealots have a very strong foundation and can flux pretty aggressively into what they would like. They decided to go ahead and get rid of Medivh here.
Yeah, Medivh banned out now, and that is a hero that the Zealots, have played already a few times, and killing a Sonya in particular, when you have Medivh on the other team as well to protect her, is incredibly difficult. I like that the Zealots ban out Malthael though. He has spiked in Europe a bit, especially on Infernal Shrines, and had massive impacts. The one thing that you have to also consider here is that there could still be some double support shenanigans on the side of Tricked if they wanted to. But traditionally, they are more so moving into a Gul'dan at this point.
Yeah, that's what I'm expecting here. The Gul'dan to get picked up. Very comfortable pickup for Tricked Esports. In fact, there it is, the Gul'dan and the Arthas. So they now have their own Shrine clear if need be. Also going to handle that Sonya pretty decently when the Arthas gets on top of her, and then we have Gul'dan bringing up the damage, and then of course Genji for the reset. So Tricked Esports has a good foundation for Infernal Shrines as well.
Yeah, Arthas can be played also by Alex. Usually right now they're having Rema on the main tank, and Arthas is then free on the last position to pick one of the tanks that has more of an impact, can play a Bruiser instead. But if the draft demands it, he can jump onto that Arthas as well. But I would still expect him to make the choice on the last pick for his own hero. When we're looking at the Zealots, we once again need a support. Rhaegar would be strong here. You could definitely use him, especially since you are already running the Sonya. So in this case, you have immediately a Lightning Shield, which helps you even more towards the objective. And we've seen a lot of good plays from Zealots on Rhaegar just yesterday, when they also focused a lot on taking camps by Rhaegar rotating around the map. But they still need another damage dealer from the backline.
Yeah, the damage dealer and the support. What will the Zealots move into? It's going to be the Rhaegar and the Li Ming. So Li Ming is here. Resets are available if we go for the throw, but Greymane might just stay with the cocktail into Cursed Bullet. They handle that Arthas. And Diablo, the final pickup for Trick. So they are looking to engage and force fights around those shrines.
I like it. Very, very heavy frontline. Now, of course, Greymane is going to get value out of the Cursed Bullet. There's no doubt about it. But it's going to be really rough to break through that front line. It's incredibly beefy, especially since Arthas with the Frozen Tempest is going to slow the auto attacks down. Diablo, when he has the 100 souls, is incredibly difficult to kill, and we can expect Devil's Due as a level 1 talent, so if he just moves down from a fight over the shrine into the lane and kills the mage minion, gets the globe and then moves in again, that can really help them.
Devil's Due is such a strong talent. I've been running more Diablo as of late. Infernal Shrines I've had great success on. Tomb of the Spider Queen, and even Brax's Holdout. Just getting those regen globes and just constantly being a nuisance is a very strong talent pickup for them. On the other side here, of course, Zealots, they have their own control pretty well. They have a new rec for their own dive and engage, can force and control the shrines. And Sonya can just solo a shrine if they try to go for the counter pressure you were mentioning earlier when on Infernal Shrines. Typically on the first shrine, if it's the very top, you might send a 4-man to the bottom lane and just break down some turrets.
I'm really liking what Trick has here, though. There's definitely a few options of also Trick trying to rush buildings down with Greymane, but overall, I like what we are seeing on the side of Trick a lot. I think they have a really strong draft. It's going to be incredibly difficult to beat. And Diablo can, as we said, have such a massive impact. There's so many points on the shrine where you can get that stun. And once you hit level 16 and you also get the reset on the Shadow Charge, you have 2 of them available. So this should be a bit of a tricky game here on the side of the Zealots.
All right, let's go ahead and start it here. Game number 2. Mopsio and crew hoping to get a victory, but will they get tricked? We'll find out.
Game number 2, ladies and gentlemen. To the left side, it's the Zealots with Grandpa on Rhaegar. We're seeing Mopsio on that front line on a Nubarak this time. Poik has chosen to play Li Ming, so we are going to see him with the ranged mage damage. And on the solo laner, Zarmany on Sonya with Shat playing a Greymane, going for the Wolf.
Tricked Esports on the right side here. Remmer will be playing Diablo. Crosby back on his Bay Gul'dan. He loves playing that. Watch out for those Horrifies. Make on Genji, Nape on Uther, and Alex the Proji on Arthas.
Yeah, definitely a fun game here already. Lightning Bond taken, so a big focus that we're going to see from Zealots on those shrines. And as we said before, we have now Rema on Diablo, so Alex made that switch over to Arthas after they said, yes, this works best for us. So Arthas going to take the solo lane up to the top against Sonya. In Infernal Shrines, usually the solo laning is not lasting for too long, so it shouldn't be a really big deal. But I'm hyped for this one. First game was awesome. Let's hope that the second one is equally good.
Oh, already Grayman being locked down. He might not be able to get out. In fact, I don't think he will. Shad picked up immediately as Tricked Esports sets up for the gank. Diablo engages and Arthas with the flank.
Really nice move here. Rema Baller with perfect coordination with the rest of the team, so an early kill for them. That gives them a bit of wiggle room here to also threaten Grand Paquette, but Rema Baller did not get in range for another Shadow Charge, and Wolf was able to rush away here. So the doggy still alive.
One of the more difficult lanes to actually gank, that bottom lane with that little corridor on the bottom side. Zarmi sidestepping the Howling Blast. Will it be enough? Make just harassing here. Goes in for the reflect and gets a kill, but he eats a turret shot. Make. Well, Genji in general today having a hard time with turrets.
Lag.
Lag. God, I hate when that happens, that power spike, you know, lag just comes in.
Yeah, it was one of those 3-2-3 moments. Definitely a lot of lag involved there. But yeah, the side door step on the Howling Blast, that was absolutely crucial here. And we talked about Gul'dan, so watch out for Gul'dan and Crosby with the Horrifies here. 6-2 in win ratio, 7.0 KDA on the hero for him in this phase. And now that we have the Shrine activating, we are going to see those fights happening. And for me personally, I really want to see how the Zealots are going to play this, since I think it's really on them to try and break through Tricked's setup. Diablo and Arthas at that front line are just going to be fantastic, and it's going to be very difficult for the Zealots to get, for example, close enough to Gul'dan to really threaten him again.
I think at level 10 they'll have a better time with it. When Rimmer comes in on Diablo, it's very telegraphed, and Mopsio will have an easy time dropping the Impale to interrupt it, which should lead into a Curse Bullet, into a Sonya, Poison Spear, blow up. But it has to take a while before we even get there. We need 7 for that Poison Spear, and we need 10 for that Curse Bullet. For now, they decided they couldn't get a gank on the middle. They set up for a trap, but Tricked Esports played delayed, and they're going to get the Shrine instead. Yeah,
and at this point, they get the kill against the new Burak. So Zealots already acknowledging that in this early game, they have no way of breaking through what Tricked has on the map now. And Grand Paquette also in trouble, gets pushed in again. Not falling because there was no tower at the bottom, but Crosby might still be able to take him down. Maki comes in and annihilates the dog. So at this point, there's no wolf on the map. It's more like a poodle that they're taking out here.
Thank you for the imagery today. Poodles getting beat up here at the HGC, as Tricked Esports will continue to focus on clearing out the shrine.
A real dog has to at least reach your knee. Everything else is just a rat in disguise.
I mean, I'm going to go ahead and leave that to, you know, the holder, whoever has their puppies. For you, maybe that's true, but for others, they'd like to have little puppies to pet, you know?
Hey, a puppy is fine, but like these little things, that's not a dog, okay? A dog reaches your knee, at least.
All right.
It's the rule.
I mean, I don't disagree with you, but I know others. They love the little puppies, man, that can fit in their purses, you know, in their sweaters.
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, I'm not saying that. Yeah, it's just not a dog.
That's fair. It's an animal. Engage here. Mopsio being locked down. Mopsio, where are you going? I think he tried to turn around the fight here.
I was asking myself the same thing. It was the wrong direction, dude. I think he was planning on hitting a stun, maybe, but then he hit the wrong button there, so the button smasher is currently annihilated. And talking about being annihilated, Zealots are getting crushed here. This isn't even funny anymore. 8 kills against 2. 7.5, only a half a level lead, but that's going to quickly escalate since they are now moving in to take the fort even. This is a very different game that we are witnessing here now. Tricked is absolutely dominating early on.
Yeah, Zealots need a little bit more clarity in their calling here. I mean, Mopsio, I think he was turning around to go for the dive on Crosby. They wanted to get resets for Li Ming. She was getting level 7 here with that Calamity. So there was an angle that if they got that kill, got that fight right away, and even when Mopsio dies, there could have been the potential to blow up the fight on Tricked Esports, but it didn't work out, and they pay pretty heavily for it with Tricked Esports getting multiple kills. Look at it. It's 8-2 in kills right now.
Yeah, and we are only 4.5 minutes in. So this is rough for Zealots. A comeback, I think, can for them really only happen around level 10. The big problem is that with the next shrine not announced yet, there's a chance that Tricked is going to be able to hit level 10 by the time the Shrine is activated. And this is a big issue if you're falling behind early on in a game on Inferno Shrines. Your opponent has a good chance of snowballing it against you.
The good news is Infernal Shrines does tend to lend itself to the ability for you to get the experience back that you need to. It's a bigger map, so it's harder for ganks to come your way. You can go to the opposite side of the battleground of a shrine and work on getting your own 10 back, but they have a full level they have to somehow sneak back away from Tricked Esports.
So we were talking about snowballing, by the way, if you're a little bit newer to Heroes of the Storm and also to the map here, as Grand Paquete gets targeted at the top and also taken apart. The thought process is always what you're trying to do is you try to reach a talent advantage before the next objective is on the map. So Tricked is now going to try and hit level 10 as they fight over the next Punisher, and then for the Punisher afterwards they will aim for level 13 before the Zealots hit their 13. And if you're always able to fight over the objective as your team has the talent advantage, then it makes it really difficult for your opponent to take an equal fight. So you're oftentimes even willing to let your opponent get maybe a 10-20 minion lead on the Shrine, if that means that during that time you hit your next talent, your next power spike, and then you commit with 5 into the battle, hope to wipe your opponent and take it from there. So this can really happen when you lose out the early game. That's exactly what Zealots are now having to deal with.
Yep, just gotta be careful and make sure that you don't overextend, while your opponents will have to out-team fight you with you being at a talent advantage. If you're isolated or picked off, that gives your opponents a chance to come back. And Zealots are looking for that right now. They're trying to find someone they can pick off. Alex Aproji and Maki in the top were able to walk away from the retreat, but they are soaking at least and still pushing in the top lane.
Yeah, so this is exactly the situation that occurs now. The level 10 was there for Tricked, and therefore the Zealots couldn't fight. So they went to the top lane, tried to push it in. Tricked reacted, did not focus on the Shrine, because they said, we're just going to get a lead now, and up to the top lane, we are going to counter-soak, so that you are not closing the gap in experience. They get 32 minions, and now Zealots have 10. So finally they are able to take a fight. But Tricked is so far ahead right now that once they are set up with 5 heroes again at the bot lane, they move in. Here comes the Horrify, pushing the opponent back. Mobsio being attacked, but healed by the Ancestral. Great move by Grandpa. Apocalypse comes through two, and we have the immediate Punisher going in. The kill, the double kill. Anoop is down, so is Greymane. Zealots are having more than a rough time. They are currently being schooled here.
Yeah, they didn't control that Arthas well enough. He was able to get on top of Greymane and Rhaegar. Zarmany did his best to put up the damage. Finally, Rhaegar does die in the top left, but Tricked Esports easily with that fire, turning it around, grabbing the Punisher, pushing the bottom, getting fort, and moving towards level 13. They dismantle the aggression that Zealots had coming their way.
That draft was just too strong for a Trick. You don't break through that front line. You don't break through the Diablo and Arthas. The only chance they have is to make some kind of engagement with Cocoon and then hope to maybe blow the second tank up with a bullet. It's rough, because normally what you're attempting to do is to Cocoon the healer and then you focus a target down. But who do you want to focus? You would like to go on to Gul'dan, but you have a Diablo and an Arthas between it. So you can't just break through those guys. Diablo is going to push you around the entire time like a schoolyard bully, and Arthas is going to slow you at the same time. Zealots, I think they have to hope to get a flank and have a good engagement or a few isolation kills, but at this point they are 10 kills behind, 2 levels behind, and a talent behind, as we already have Tricked with a level 13 power spike.
I mean, Zealots may have a chance here when they get to 13 and 16. Li Ming, with that cursed bullet from Greymane, does have the blow potential to blow up a tank if they are able to isolate them and grab them. So Mopsio maybe could get a Cocoon down on top of Uther, drop down and impale on that back line, and they turn around and kill Arthas, but it's still a hard road here. Tricked is so far ahead, 2 levels right now, continuing to push in. Here comes the fight as Mopsio dies.
Cocoon is used. Nice cleanse on Shat here. Really well done. Remaballer was trying to go for the Apo combo, but that was great by Grandpa, but he can't save Greymane. The Ancestral comes in a bit too late. Now Sonya is down after Greymane falls first, and Grandpa also targeted. Make on his Genji is making up for all those tiny false mistakes in the last game. He is wrecking them.
Yeah, Genji is definitely one of his best characters to play, it feels like, in Heroes of the Storm. And it's interesting, every time we look at a fight, it feels like Zealots are running. And where does Genji do really well in fights? When people are running away from you. Genji constantly getting that harassment with Crosby on the back, a drop in the Fel Flames.
But it's also the way that he chases them down in every single battle. He knows exactly which path they're going to take. He is never giving up on the chase. He has 8 kills himself already, was involved in 7 additional ones. He was part of every single kill that Trick got so far.
Here he comes in. He's got the Divine Shield for the Dragon Blade. You see Zarman on the left side. Shad here almost get saved by Grandpa, but the blow up from Tricked Esports was too much. And Zarmany engaged on that, assuming that Greymane would actually live for that entire fight. Did not, so Zarmany got cleaned up, and eventually the Reg R2.
One of my favorite moments was still the cleanse from Grandpa Keta onto Greymane. That was fantastic. Because what we saw was Diablo trying to execute a combo with the Apocalypse. So he goes in with the Apocalypse and the Shadow Charge, tries to get the Overpower in to get the stun into the Apocalypse against Greymane. And just as he grabs on, the cleanse comes out, saves Greymane for the moment, but then the Dragon Blade, as we said, on Genji with the Divine Shield had too much of an impact, couldn't heal him in time, but the cleanse was absolutely stunning. The problem is, it's not enough to bring them back into this game, at least not for now.
Zealots realizing they're in a bad spot here, has to make a play for something. They go in, they look towards the gold dam, but Rimmer will peel perfectly while Li Ming gets blown up on the left side here as Make continues to destroy on this Genji, just slashing and dicing. Grandpa in trouble on the back left with Alex the Prodigy. Divine Shield coming out on Crosby as well, and Tricked Esports are destroying this team fight.
Tricked is just absolutely dominating this game. And I'm gonna make a risky guess here. I think there's a good chance that Genji is not gonna end up in the hands of Maka next game.
The bold claims on you today. First off, poodles aren't real dogs.
Yeah.
Secondly, we're not gonna get any more gold dams. Caldor, you've gone crazy.
Yeah, it's a very bold guess here.
16-13 as Tricked Esports will keep pushing in. And notice how they don't finish the shrine. They're taking this advantage, and they're going to push in and break down the keep. Grab a couple of damages on it at least, and force Zealots to come fight them again. In fact, they're dinging around here. They're asking the Zealots to come fight. 19
versus 2 kills, 13 versus 16 in levels, and here comes Zealot. They are at this point desperate. It's just Hail Mary moves all the way. They know that the boss alone or the Punisher would be a massive problem for them. There's a camp pushing at the bot lane, but what do we see Trick doing? They move in, they tap the fountain, and they turn it around.
And in 3 seconds, we'll have Army of the Dead. If they play this nice and slow, they can force a fight, especially with Horrify up in 3 seconds. Trick Esports is dangling a fight right in front of them. Maki goes forward and says, hey, look at me, but the Horrify will be available. There it is. Sonya gets focused down, low on health, and there goes Zarmany.
Maka takes him down. That's Sonya, the end of it. Once again, we're seeing Genji going in with the Dragon Blade, trying to get another kill. Needs to be careful. Is low. Greymane wants the kill. Doesn't get it, though. He does in the end, but he himself also sacrifices his life. Rega has been isolated and killed off. 22 kills against 3. We have 4 heroes, 4 Trick moving towards the keep as Zealots only has 2 to defend.
Poyak will be here on the left side. The longer this does go on, though, the longer the Zealots actually do get into a point where they can get 16. It's not looking good for them, and Trick Esports still has a lot more wiggle room than you would like, but they need to be a little bit more decisive and finally get this keep at some point.
Tricked at this point, yeah, Tricked right now, they're definitely aiming for the keep. I think they should have even pushed in. They had a chance, but they realized that the death timers were just a little bit low already, so they didn't want to risk it. They go for the safer play, which is simply moving back to the shrine, taking the Punisher, and then moving in with the Punisher. They can time it, don't really have to really time it since Genji is on his way back, but if need be, they could have just taken 39s of the 40, waited a little bit until all 5 are up at the top, and then claim the last one to move in with the Punisher to get the first keep of the game.
Yeah, I think much better play here to get the Punisher. Gul'dan, okay for sieging on top of a keep, but you will tap into your own life, and you might get into a spot where Li Ming suddenly gets a weird combo on you.
Yeah, it's definitely the safer play here, and why risk it? At this point, yes, you are still far ahead, but we all know that in Heroes of the Storm, a comeback is always possible. If there's a good team fight by the Zealots and they get a team wipe because someone is not being careful on the side of Trick, then the game can still flip. So you need to get value, and this is what they're doing with a keep. And they're, of course, hoping to get more. If they can get a kill, they can go towards the core.
Mopsio trying to base his Punisher into the middle keep. He will do it successfully here. Zarmany at the same time does get locked down. Cleanse comes out as well as an early Ancestral, but Grandpa trying to keep everyone alive. 15.5 to 18 as Trick keeps moving in.
Grandpa had problems with the Ancestrals here because the damage output is just so insane on the side of Trick, so he's using it a little bit earlier this time. Gets the Ancestral through. Nobody falling either. So Trick moves out. That was actually a decent defense by Zealot. If they would have lost a hero here, being a talent down, that could have meant game. So they lose the keep, that was inevitable, but they are at the same time still in the game and have a chance to fight on 16 maybe.
Mopsio needs to be careful, he gets stunned and he gets blown up there.
Forget all I just said.
Yeah, he was looking for a fight while 16 was on the way, but a little bit too far forward. Grandpa is well in trouble, might be saved here on the side. 16 still not here for Zealots. Zarmany, you need to get out, but Rimmer says no.
It was a big misplay here from Opsio. It's like 2 heroes down, Genji falls again. But if you defend the keep and you don't lose anybody, why move out? There is no reason whatsoever for him to be in that position and to move out here. Because the problem for him was just simply, you don't have your level 16 yet. Why would you move out? Soak safely and don't get engaged upon.
Maybe the idea was to keep the mercenaries pushing in the middle and the bottom, just pushing every advantage that you do have on the field, even though you have nothing much. I mean, I can see it.
There was no advantage. That's the point.
They had some mercs pushing in the middle and the bottom. Maybe if they can get a turret, get 16 and 4 something.
Okay, so you mean feeding in the mid lane helps you to give the mercs a little bit more time to push it in?
Hey, sometimes when you're in the moment, you don't see everything that we see. I'm just saying, give him a little credit. He was trying to make something happen. Sometimes you want to make plays. Yeah. Most of the time you feed.
If he tries to make that happen 10 seconds later, they have 16 versus 16, and he can actually take it.
Concept of time is nothing here, man.
Don't annoy me with your logic.
19 to 16, Zealots do need to force a fight now. They got to get something going here, because 20 is right around the corner.
Their window is closing fast. And we just saw, by the way, also the poll. You guys were, of course, pretty busy there on Twitter, and so far people are still of the opinion that this is a 50-50 game. And on map number 1, it definitely looked like it, but now Tricked is just so far ahead. But again, a 16-16 fight is the best chance you have. Problem is, Mopsio is dead again. Divine Shield out, Horrify used. Sonya is way too far off, and guess who's about to fall again? It's the dog, as Make just hunts down Rhaegar. Here goes Sonya, and that's a 5 versus 2 on the map. Level 20 talents about to hit. The rest of Team Zealots is just running, and Trick moves into the mid lane.
Yeah, they're going to get 20 here. While Greymane and Li Ming spread out, they'll come over for defense, but this game is looking very hard and difficult for Zealots.
27 kills against 4.
That's 31 kills in total. That's right. Just drop some math on you.
This is how my quick matches look.
I'm sorry, Keldo. That's
the other way.
The PTSD kicking in. Keep you sticking out too, and it looks like Tricked Esports is going to take the opportunity to go nice and slow here and just push in with multiple catapults and a Punisher for one full victory, as Zealots will be spawning. I mean, we're only 17 minutes in, so death timers are still kind of on the lower side, about 30-35 seconds, so if they don't immediately push in and they don't have a major auto attacker, it's hard to go straight core. So they just grab the keeps here and pull back.
And again, just to put this a bit in perspective, a lot here comes really down to the draft, where Tricked had a massive draft, especially for the early game, where they are super strong, and with the lead they took early on, thanks to the 3 kills they got and the early punishers, Zealots was always behind. They were always at a stats advantage because they were 2, 3, even 4 levels down at times, and they were always a talent behind, and now they are again. So this is why this is so dominant right now from Tricked Esports, because there's just never a moment when the Zealots are on the same level. Once again, the fight is starting. Dragon Blade is out. All the keeps are already lost. Horrify comes in. Rhaegar is down. So is Greymane. Poi is on a killing spree.
Make as well, and kills on the back left too, and we're going to have 3 people taken out, 4 taken out, and we're going to have a Nubrak, the only one standing here, as Mopsio will be the lone beetle to defend against the push of Tricked Esports. It's 30 seconds before 4 people even come back for the Zealots.
31 kills. I can't remember an HGC game where we saw 31 kills against 4. 35 in total. They want the beetle once again. This time they might not get him, but this is just this is a catastrophical game for the Zealots. The core is falling as Tricked is bringing it home. They are going to get a 2-0 lead over the Zealots, and they also take Nubarak down just to make it an even 36 kills.
Tricked Esports seems to be a little bit on the angry side after game number 1 and game number 2. They bring out the potential that we know they had in them, and the Zealots fall victim. 2-0 lead for Tricked Esports as they continue to be on the dominant spree that they've been on for the last couple weeks.
This game definitely hurt a lot, but once more, I really think a lot comes down to the draft and the early game lead that Tricked was able to get. And it always sounds a bit silly, but if you get such a massive lead, you have to be extremely careful. Because we've seen so many of these games when you have a 3-level lead, you're level 18, your opponent is 15, and it all looks dominant, you're having fun, you're enjoying it, you're just not really looking for the win anymore, you're looking more so for kills and flashy plays. Then your opponent hits 16, and all of a sudden a team fight doesn't go your way. You lose 3-4 heroes, and bam, look at that. The gap in experience is closed. Your opponent is running with a late game Punisher that, of course, has scaled, and all of a sudden the game can be open again. So it looks very deceiving oftentimes when you have that 15 or that level 18 versus 15 lead. So this is really the time when you need to focus the most, because it's an opportunity for your opponent to make the comeback. But Trick played it very disciplined. They played it cautious. They never overextended. They took every single keep, and then when they said, okay, this is the moment, then they went for core.
Well, Tricked Esports looking dominant, but we'll see if they can finish this one out with a 3-0, or if Zealots will bring back the spirit we've seen from them in the last couple of days.